the death rattle of the Republican establishment. Is it finally ready to lay down and accept defeat? Matt Schlapp is the chairman of the American Conservative Union. Howard Fine is the global editorial director for the Huffington Post and an MSNBC political analyst. And Joan Walsh is national affairs correspondent for The Nation and an MSNBC political analyst. Joan, tell me this. Is that the sound of death we heard last night?
That is the sound of death. He's almost certain to get over the delegate threshold, and if he doesn't, Chris, he's going to get close enough that they simply cannot deny him. And, you know, looking at that Fiorina press conference today, I thought of you because I thought you often say this. Doesn't anybody know how to do this anymore? Doesn't anybody know how to play this game? I mean, first we had Cruz Kasich, the pact, that failed. Now we have Cruz
that marriage
Fiorina.
Was only a 3-day marriage. We got to pay attention. Joan, I got to interrupt you. Stay with it. We'll be right back to you. We got to go watch now Cruz destroy, or Trump destroy Cruz.
Okay.
The latest.
Because we had 11 debates that I was in, and won every single one of them, according to Drudge and Time and all of these great places. And won every single one. But I was with my wife, and I'm watching his stuff. I can't watch him for long periods, you know. We will this, the flourish, I have such a headache. You get a headache watching this guy. Boy, it's terrible. But I said to my wife, it's terrible that he can get away with it, where he can say everything I said, exactly the opposite. And some people believe it. And I said, isn't that terrible? She said, nobody believes it, darling. Really, nobody believes it. They've heard your speech before. Believe me, they don't believe it. He even said, I'm not going to build the wall. Can you believe it? He said, he is not going to build the wall. Folks, we're going to build the wall. Believe me. Believe me. We're going to build that wall. We're going to build that wall, and you know who's going to pay for that wall? Not even a question of a doubt. You know, they called me over after a debate, some of the politicians, a few weeks ago, when we had some left. Now we're down to 2 stragglers. Let's be nice. 2 stragglers. They're straggling along. But they called me over, and they said, you know, 6 months ago, they said, Donald, you know you'd never be able to build a wall. I said, of course you can. You know, China, you know the story. A 13,000-mile wall 2,000 years ago. We have 2,000, of which you need 1 because you have a lot of natural barriers. And we're talking about $10 billion. And they owe us, if you look at the trade imbalance, just take a look at it. Not only with China, where it's $500 billion a year. We're going to end that, folks, very quickly, okay? But Mexico, with Mexico, we're talking about $58 billion a year, okay? I mean, on trade. 58 billion, right? They do better. They have the good side. We have the bad side. You know what that means. So they're doing very well. That doesn't include all the drugs that are being sent across the border and poisoning our youth. Now, I have respect for Mexico. I have respect for the Mexican leaders. I love the Mexican people. I'm leading in certain polls. You saw in Nevada, I was leading in the polls with Hispanics. And the reason is I'm going to bring jobs back. We're bringing jobs back to our country. We're not going to let Carrier leave. We're going to take numbers. We're going to do numbers. There are consequences. You leave, and we'll talk about Carrier, because say what you want, Indiana. I've been talking about Carrier now for 4 months, right? Before I even knew that we were going to be coming. I mean, literally from the day. So with all of the things that are going on, and with everything that we're seeing, and with all of the people that we've seen, there's nobody that's going to be able to do what we're going to do together as a movement. We have a movement going on. Nobody has seen anything like it. And when I can get somebody like Coach Knight, and when we get other people, we have tremendous people supporting us. You know Jeff Sessions. Okay, now, when Cruz gets up, he always talks about, he doesn't anymore because about 4 weeks ago he endorsed me, so he's not talking. But the man he most respects in the United States Senate is a great man, Senator Jeff Sessions from Alabama. And he came out and endorsed Donald Trump. And I don't believe he's ever endorsed a presidential candidate before. And Dr.
We're back with Joan. Let Joan finish your thought there, because Trump is now doing what we do is we cut in for his substance when he makes something that sounds new, and then we recognize he's going back to the shtick, which everybody's heard before. You know, consult your local app or whatever. Get back to it. It's somewhere available online, but it's been said before. So let's go to the new stuff. And of course, the new stuff is he got a great boost from Bobby Knight, who's a hero, of course, like Arnold Palmer, of a different era, perhaps in Pennsylvania. Everybody loves Bobby Knight out there, but he's also known for throwing chairs and choking players and all that stuff. It's all part of the appeal of Donald Trump in a way.
It's like a Trump rally, you know. It's like yes, it's a very similar dynamic. And, you know, you saw those cheers for building the wall and making Mexico pay for it, and you've got people who are very excited by this. And I look at, you know, you asked me about the Republican Party. I have a tiny bit of sympathy for the Republican establishment. They don't deserve it, but I feel it anyway, because they don't really know what to do with this. These are voters, Chris. This is a majority of their voters. He's now, we've said it, I know I've said it, I was wrong. He's at 25, he won't get to 30. He's at 30, he won't get to 40. He's now over 50, he's at 60. You know, this is who this party wants, and it's going to be very, very hard to deny it to him if he gets close, and certainly if he gets over the threshold.
Well, Ted Cruz isn't giving up, whatever that means. Of course, he may have given up in his brain, but he's not giving up in his physical actions. And he made a major announcement today. I'd call it a Hail Mary, an effort to gin up some excitement, to make the scoreboard light up at least for his campaign. He picked Carla Fiorina, who came in like 10th in this election, as his potential running mate. She, of course, lost her job at Hewlett-Packard. She lost statewide in California. She lost in the race for president, three-time loser. And now he's put her on the ticket. I don't know what it brings. Anyway, he highlighted her ability. He said, to stand up to Donald Trump, which she did do, I must say. Let's watch.
Over and over again, Carly has shattered glass ceilings. She is careful. She is measured. She is serious. She doesn't get overly excited. She doesn't get rattled by whatever is getting thrown at her. We all saw that when in one of the earliest debates, Carly confronted Donald Trump. One of the great principles of bullies, they feed off of fear, and they don't know what to do when a strong, powerful woman stands up and says, I am not afraid.
Isn't there a bigamy situation here? Didn't he just over the weekend marry Kasich? I mean, what's going on here? How many marriages in a week?
Okay,
These are desperate. These are chapels out in Las Vegas busy.
He rolled out the Kasich thing a few days ago.
Saturday night.
I think it was Saturday.
Right.
Or
and
Sunday night.
They pledged their troth. But then the problem was that the next day, Kasich said, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to vote for me. I want to,
no mas.
I want people to vote for me. He spent one night with Cruz, and that was enough. He sobered up. So then that was that, and that didn't work. And look, everybody has said that if you're going to keep this thing going, owing at all, which I'm dubious about, it's got to be Indiana. It's got to be Indiana, got to be Indiana, got to be Indiana. The only thing Cruz had left was to cash the one bargaining chip that he might have had if by some chance he got to the convention, which was to offer the Veep to somebody in Cleveland. But he played that card now, which is idiotic.
This is, I hope you don't have to defend your party, because this is so hilarious. This is ridiculous. This is picking vice presidents on the fly, and really to get you through the night. Bluntly, just to get you through the next couple of days, because
or at least
he just married Kasich. He said, we're in this together, and now he's going to her. And you know, if I were her, and he did end up, you know, typing Merry Christmas, winning now in Indiana, winning in California big time, somehow winning on the second or third bout, she ain't going to be anywhere near him.
Look, what happened is that Trump had a huge night on Tuesday.
5 for 5. I think every county, every CD.
You know, if you look at that podium, there was no Cruz Fiorina placard. I think they had to up their time frame because it was such a big night for him on Tuesday, and Indiana polls are changing so fast that the Cruz team said, if we're going to do this thing later, let's do it sooner. Let's do something to change the dynamics. It used to be about California. It's now about Indiana because it's all getting front-loaded.
Howard?
Well, here's the thing. Indiana it is an open primary in the sense that you don't have party registration there. People can come and vote. Donald Trump, through people like Bobby Knight, is going for the same loose change of unaffiliated or not strong necessarily Republicans to add to his momentum.
And everybody's a Bobby Knight.
And that's so in that sense, that's helpful, and that's what Trump needs. Cruz will be well organized, but it probably won't be enough.
Jonah, here we go. The Here we go, the general election matchup. That is going to be a matchup, by the way. That's not going to be a marriage made in heaven, but it is going to happen. That's Hillary Clinton playing the woman's card. Let's watch.
I think the only card she has is the woman's card. She's got nothing else going. And frankly, if Hillary Clinton were a man, I don't think she'd get 5% of the vote. The only thing she's got going is the woman's card. And the beautiful thing is women don't like her, okay? And look how well I did with women tonight, okay?
What a set of numbers he's come up with. I'm not sure that's true at all. Clinton, by the way, reacted, Secretary Clinton, to that charge. Let's watch this.
The other day, Mr. Trump accused me of playing the, quote, woman card. Well, if fighting for women's health care and paid family leave and equal pay is playing the woman card, then deal me in.
Well, on Morning Joe today, Donald Trump was asked to respond to her comments, Hillary Clinton's, and let's watch what he said.
Well, I haven't quite recovered. It's early in the morning from her shouting that message. And I know a lot of people would say you can't say that about a woman because, of course, a woman doesn't shout. But the way she shouted that message was not, ooh, that's the way she said it. And it's, I guess I'll have to get used to a lot of that over the next 4 or 5 months.
What do you make of that?
You know, when I heard him last night and then again this morning, Chris, I thought back to the early days of his campaign when some Republicans worried that he was a Clinton plant. Remember, Bill Clinton had a phone call with him and told him to run because I think he is going to help Hillary Clinton possibly change the map. I mean, this is a polarized country, and I admit that. But when women hear what Trump is about not just her, but Carly Fiorina, you're going to have a Republican Women for Hillary movement in this country. She is going to mop the floor with him. This is going to turn out women like nothing before.
We will keep track of what you predict.
Okay, I know you do.
Because I think it's about 9 points down. I still think you're right, but you never know. Right now.
No,
Matt Schlapp, you think that Trump will definitely go down the toilet if Hillary goes up against him?
No, absolutely not. I think the chances are I'd rather
Who's got the odds?
She's got the odds. There's no question about it. First of all, she's a historic first woman candidate. Right. Easier, I think, for Democrats to get through these days. And Trump is so unconventional. But the idea that these general election polls mean anything right now is garbage. And I think Trump has the chance to get there. I think there's no question about it.
What states does he pick up? From the usual list.
Look, we just saw on the Acela. Look what we just saw on the Acela. New York, New
He's going to carry
No, Matt, come on.
Wait a minute, I was following you there. Howard, would you break this up?
What about Pennsylvania?
He just said that Hillary Clinton's going to lose New York to Donald Trump.
I think that's unlikely, but I'll say this. The one big thing that Hillary needs to worry about here is that Donald Trump is a professional political wrecking ball who's out to topple every establishment in the country politically. And that's how he's succeeded so far. That's his whole message. How does he topple the women's majority vote? That's his whole message. And he's going to try to portray Hillary and Bill and the Clinton Foundation and the Democratic Party and Washington, D.C. as the center of everything corrupt and institutional.
And lots of women voters don't like
that.
There are Republican women who don't like her, but Democratic women love her.
You know what? I
agree with
You're not right about that.
I think this is going to be a fairly easy election to vote in. You're going to know your side fairly clear. I don't think there'll be a lot of minds changed, but those 5% in the middle will decide it. Thank you, Matt Schlapp. I was surprised by your answer. You've come around, haven't you, to Trump?
I haven't come around. No.
You guys are sort of accepting him now.
I like democracy. It's happening. I think the results mean something.
Would you tell that to Reince Priebus?
I will tell Reince Priebus.
Okay, thank you, because he's not familiar with that form of government called democracy. Howard Fineman, as always.
Thank you.
Thanks for your maturity and seriousness. No.